Hello everyone, I'm Eun-Ju, Doctor of Sports Pedagogy from Jeonbuk National University. I'd like to introduce my paper on the effect of middle school students' experience of participation in school sports club on school-related attitude. Table of contents. First, the introduction. As a new word, the 8th grade syndrome has recently appeared in Korean society with a growing concern about school violence. The problem of young people are emerging as a social problem. In particular, student emotional difficulties are most frequent among the youth problems. As adults is in a parade of self-establishment as well as of intensive employment and physical growth. The fate of not only teenagers but also school and social organization depends on how to combat negative factors, such as tension, anxiety, conflict, and dissension in adults into the positive relations so that they can play a role as member of community. Accordingly, the Ministry of Education, Science, and Technology is trying to achieve students' health programs, physical development, and school adaptation through their participation in school sports club. School sports club is a student-led sports organization that promotes health and promotes bilingual school as model through the bilinguality participation of the same school student with a hobby in sports activity. And it has been agreed to the National Public Project Science 2007. Accordingly, the students participating in school sports club showed positive change in school life, adaptability, and personality. And the experience of school sports club and the degree of school violence were found to have a negative relationship. In particular, there are many students reporting that adolescent sports attitude, a whole person education that play an important role in motility and personality by improving the problem of students. Personality, empathy, and communication skills, while recording delinquents show that there is growing social experience of personality education through school club activity. The purpose of this study is to analyze the difference of school attitude of middle school students participating in school sports club and to identify the necessary of school sports club activity. To this end, the research hypothesis as follows. First, their participation, non-participation in school sports club will affect middle school students attitude towards school. Second, the participation period of school sports club will affect middle school student attitude towards school. 3. Third, the frequency of participation per week in school sports club will affect middle school student attitude towards school. Fourth, the number of school sports club competition will affect middle school student attitude towards school. Next, research method. In this study, first, second, and third grade middle school students in J province were selected as the subject of this study by means of random sampling separated. In order to score in relative of school sports club activity, this lecture and co-lecture by the Oliver Praswar School and Level Student Stadium of 218 superintended school sports club to this group 550. Question areas are a total of 550 question areas where returned where on beautiful 30 question areas were occurred. In addition, in order to listen the question areas from both the student participating in school sports club and non-participating students. 515 questionnaires were distributed with the consent of a junior high school in Jane province. And of them were returned but people 65 questionnaires were included. As a result, a total of 105 questionnaires were used in the study, including 520 questionnaires from middle school students who participated in school sports club, and 4,455 questionnaires for non-participating middle school students. Research participation show the general characteristics of the subject and the experience of participating in school sports club. Based on the study of Choi and Kim, this study examined the difference between middle school students who participated in school sports club and middle school students who do not. In order to distinguish difference in school attitude according to the degree of participation in school sports club, the duration and then frequency of participation in school sports club were set as values by considering the students of Kim and E and O beside and in the study of Park, the school attitude was also examined according to number of participation in school sports club competition. Given that there were differences in self-esteem, school belonging, and school life satisfaction according to the number of participation in school sports club competition and the prize in the competition, and there were also differences in educational experience. According to the number of participation in school sports club community. This study revised and used the questionnaire for middle school student attitude, which was developed by Lim and Kim in consideration of the development level and school characteristics of middle school students. Lim and Kim made a questionnaire about school attitude based on the total of 35 questions. 9 questions of students' attitude toward their student environment factor, namely school environment factor that reflect students' attitude toward the overall physical environment of school, such as the cleanliness and comfort of school public, and considering and healthy water supply and meals service. 7 questions of school teacher factor then reflect student preference and subject teacher and home loan teacher. Teacher teaching style and attitude related to relationship with teacher. 7 questions of school friend that reflect difference for school friend. Attitude related to relationship with friends. 6 questions of school learning factor. They reflect the attitude related to school class, text, test, and score. 6 questions of school general factor that reflect the attitude related to school life and school system. This research formed a group of experience, such as 1 major professor and 3 doctors, and they removed school environment factor in consideration of the suitability of the questionnaire and middle school student concentration on the questionnaire, and divided the questionnaire into the total of 4 factors and 26 questions. This table 2 is the result of related and relatively verification for school attitude. Take a look at the reliability part of the table 2 and to various percentage of each factor: school teacher, school friend, school study, and school general. The collection questionnaires were recorded on a computer and processed by using SPSS 25 system calling program. First, a frequency answer was conducted to find out the gene characters of the study subject and the degree of participation expansion in school sports club. Second, exploratory factor necessary and crowbar alpha competition with Bermax rotation were payment for the ability and reliability of the questionnaire question. Third, independent sample test and way ANOVA were carried out to find out the difference in middle school standard attitude towards school according to the degree of participation experience in the school sports club, and subject test was continued as a post-hall test. 3. Result. Chapter 3 result is as follows. First, difference in middle school student school attitude depending on whether they participate in school sports club or not. Hypothesis 1 of this study is the participation in school sports club will affect middle school student attitude towards school. The necessary variance of verify this found that the participant of school sports club competition showed the significant difference in a sub-factor of school attitude, complete to non-participant. Move to second. Difference in middle school student school attitude according to the pride of participation in school sports club. Hypothesis 2 of this study is the pride of participation in school sports club will affect middle school student attitude. To verify this, the result of balance and necessary of 520 school sports club participants are shown. There were significant difference in hours, some factors of school attitude according to the participation pride of school sports club. Please refer to Table 4. Next, the third of the result. School attitude of middle school students according to the frequency of participation per week in school sports club. Hypothesis 3 of this study is the frequency of participation per week in school sports club in will affect middle school student attitude towards school. To verify this, the result of balance and series of 520 school sports club participants are shown in. there was significant difference in or sub-factor of school attitude. According to the frequency of participation per week in school sports club, take a look at 5. Moving force. Difference in middle school student attitude towards school according to the frequency of participation in sports club competition. Hypothesis 4 of this study is the frequency of participation in school sports club competition will affect middle school sports middle school student attitude towards school. To verify this, the result of balance and necessary of 520 school sports club participating are showing. In Table 6, there was significant difference in a sub-factor of school attitude according to the frequency of participation in school sports club competence. Please refer to Table 6. Next, here this is discussed as follows. The purpose is this study is to identify the difference in school attitude among middle school students in the province according to their participation in school sports club, frequency of weekly participation, and number of competition as a root of the study. The frequency of weekly participation and the number of competition. These findings show that middle school student participation in school sports club has a positive impact on forming a positive attitude towards school, and subsequent detailed in discuss as follows. First, the reason why the experience of participating in school sports club personality influence the school teacher factor of school attitude is that the students interact more while their teacher. The study with the candidate collective study of the student participating in school sports club for 2 years report that the relationship with teacher improved after participation in school sports club, because the attitude toward teacher improved as the number of not temporary but constant interaction increased due to the change of attitude into positive. The degree produced about teacher and recognition for teacher, this result and partly same as the previous studies that have reported that the students who participation in school sports club activities showed their relationship with their schoolmate and teacher, like school balance and overall satisfaction with school compared to students who did not participate. Second, the reason why the experience of participating in school sports club positively influence the school friendly factor of school attitude is that participation in the school sports club strengthens social skills. 3. The reason why the experience of participating in school sports club have a positive impact on the school general impact of school attitude is that the participants may feel grateful to their school. 40. The reason why the experience of participating in school sports club improved the school learning factor of school attitude in because participation in school sports club strengthens the student's self. Alright, let's dive into the conclusion and suggestion of this study. The final conclusion are as follows. First, there was a significant difference in a sub-factor of middle school student school attitude depending on whether they participated in school sports club or not. Second, there was a significant difference in our sub-factor of middle school students' school attitude according to the participation hired of school sports club. Third, there was a significant difference in our sub-factor of middle school students' school attitude, except school friendly factor according to the frequency of participation per week in school sports club. Fourth, there was a significant difference in the sub-factor of middle school students' school attitude according to the number of participation in school sports club competition. To summarization. Next, based on the result and the conclusion of this study, the suggestion for following up research is that qualitative researches should be continued on school sports club and school attitude. Since school attitude is about the most important factor in school life, such as teacher, friend, and schoolwork. It means to conduct exploratory research on how school sports club activities help the formation of positive school attitude. This study is trying to provide the circle to a healthy student emotional problems which are amazing as science social problem. Thank you for listening to my study on the effect of middle school student experience of participation in school sports club on school-related activity. Thank you.